When I was young, my father, Merrill, used to take me to work occasionally on a Saturday morning. It was usually the day when he did his mail, and my father was definitely a man of habit. And I remember thinking, wow, this place is so immense. Edmonton Motors had recently moved from its 103rd Street site to Jasper Avenue and 115th Street. The place, as a young man, seemed so large. We had a showroom that could fit 27-odd cars. There were rows and rows of mechanical stalls. The place was busy. There were people everywhere. As I got older, my impressions changed from awe at all the cars to the understanding that the respect the staff had for my father, Merrill, and my grandfather, F.J. Both believed that you got good results by employing good people. People are the most important piece of success in any business venture, and people, both customers and employees, stayed with Edmonton Motors for a lifetime. My grandfather, F.J., was an entrepreneur right from the beginning. Shortly after moving to Edmonton in 1921, he formed Wolfe Auto Service on what is now Winston Churchill Square. F.J. believed if you gave someone a job, you gave them an opportunity. My father, on the other hand, Merrill, could not say no to any philanthropic opportunity that came his way. He was president of the Rotary Club, chairman of the Fort Edmonton Foundation, influenced the establishment of the Edmonton Community Foundation, and the list goes on and on. For Merrill's efforts, he was featured in the Time magazine of 1973 as the Dealer of the Year in all of Canada. Merrill certainly believed in supporting his community. During high school, I occasionally worked at Edmonton Motors part-time, mounting tires one summer, acting as a warranty clerk on another, sometimes even transferring vehicles to other locations for spare money. At the age of 27, in 1973, I returned to Edmonton to learn the automobile business when my dad started to plan for his retirement. The succession plan that Merrill had written out for me was long and cumbersome. Within 18 months of my joining the firm, my father passed away suddenly, and I was instantly thrust into the role of president and chief operating officer of the company. But I had surrounded myself with many fine people that were employees of my father who guided me in the right direction along the way. Multi-generational businesses tend to fail, and the percentage of failures increases with each generation. Both my father and grandfather said the only way to succeed continually is to change with the times. That's not to mean that you give up on their values, just adapting to what has changed in the world. I often heard from employees, your father or your grandfather would not have done it that way. And my response always was, had we continued to do it that way, we would be broke. My general manager, Ken Robertson, would mention to me that perhaps I should go home for the night and think about the decision I had made. His guidance was a godsend to me in my formative years. During my course of tenure at Edmonton Motors, we changed once again. That change involved the use of computers, which replaced many people and the paperwork they did. Today we are navigating a world where internet has changed the way business is done. Electric vehicles potentially are our future. This is a world that Merrill and F.J. would not even recognize. Ashley and Harrison, now is the time for your vision of these companies. Your vision for the Wolfe Automotive Group and the Wolfe Pack Warriors. I know these companies are in good hands, and God willing, there will be another generation, and there will always be a wolf at the door.
In 1986, Bob Wolfe decided that he was going to buy, at that point it was GSL Chev City, from Bill McNaughton in Calgary. And he moved our family from Edmonton down to Calgary, which is where he remained till the end of his career. And then fast forward probably 20 or so years, I joined the organization in 2005 from university. And when I look back, when I started, I started reflecting on some of my memories when I was a kid at GSL. And my first memory was when Harris and I, we decided it would be a great idea, and Harrison's my brother, to play soccer in the showroom. We probably were 6 or 7, and my dad's controller at the time, her name was Marg Manovich. She was not happy with us as we were shooting soccer balls across the showroom at Cadillacs and Chevrolet pickup trucks. So we probably were typical dealer kids back then, and we weren't quite into a listing phase. And then also another good memories over the years is we used to have these great car shows that we had at GSL, and we worked with the Corvette Club and some of the old vehicle clubs of Calgary, and had these big car shows. And that was always fun. It was always in the summer, and there was always good food and drinks to be had by all of us who were attending. And this all predates me working there. And then when we started working there as young kids through like the late part of university, Harrison and I both did some summer jobs at the dealership. And one year I was a parts driver, and he was working as a detailer in the shop. And for some reason we had purchased, or the parts department had purchased, windshield washer fluid in bulk, and you're apparently supposed to dilute it when you house it in the dealership, and we didn't. And it was housed in the same area as our compressor. So one morning, both my brother and I are living in our dad's basement for the summer, and we get a call, and the compressor sparked in the morning, and it exploded the side of the GSL building and blew out all these cinder blocks, knocked over some used cars, blew cinder blocks into the Bow River like it was this massive explosion. And it was probably 30 minutes before all of our workers showed up. So nobody got injured, but it was crazy. Those are kind of a couple of my main memories from starting out before I started to work there. So in early 2000s, actually early 2010-12, Bob decided to purchase the land that we've just recently moved on to on the west side of Calgary, and it is 16 acres where we're sitting today. And he decided at that point that we needed an opportunity to move outside of the downtown core. And like many of you know, many large establishments that were consuming a lot of dirt downtown have eventually moved out, particularly car dealerships, just because we're not really the highest and best use when we're thinking about large properties. Is certainly downtown with condos and things like that going up, they're just a better return on the investment. So he had the forethought to think about, we'd like to move out of the core, and we have a certain area of responsibility to our clients. So it was kind of a window to the west of us that we could go. And he found this great driving range that at the time was currently owned by the Carey family. And this was the land we're sitting on right now, was All Shots driving range. So my dad and I came out here, and we had a 6-pack of beer, and we decided that we were going to shoot some balls. And then he made the decision that he wanted to purchase the dirt for the future. And he also had the forethought or foresight, I guess, about where the Calgary Ring Road was going to go in. So the city of Calgary had plans so far that hadn't quite come to fruition, but you could see them online, and so this was certainly part of that plan to come out here. So you fast forward through the years that we were just landlords to the All Shots driving range, and eventually we decided now is the time to pull the trigger. So it is 2025 now, and we started this process. Well, we probably started it in 2021, and it was a couple of year build for us. And obviously one of the main things that you'll recognize as you're here tonight is that we separated GSL Chev City, which then became Wolfe Calgary, into 2 different buildings. So we decided it was time to pull out the Cadillac brand, and we had done that in Edmonton already for Wolfe Cadillac Edmonton. So here we followed suit, and we developed Wolfe Cadillac Calgary, and we've also developed Wolfe Chevrolet GMC Buick. So there's 2 sites, 2 different dealerships on one piece of property, and we put it all together and moved out of the downtown core through kind of February, and then we did one exquisite midnight move the first weekend in March of this year, opening our doors March 3rd here at our new location. I think what's important about the future or the vision of Wolfe is number one, that we stay in alignment with our business partners, which are General Motors, and their vision of the future. And internally, it makes me reflect on the past, on what is really important to our personal legacy, and that is, something that I've heard my whole life through my father and his father and the father before him, and it's all about the people. And he really hammered home how important it was to surround yourself with good people, and how much of a difference that makes in how you operate as a business and how you treat your customers. And I know Harrison and I will take that and hopefully be able one day, to pass it along to a fifth generation. And maybe, if we're lucky, one of our four boys will be keen to join the industry. So yeah, I think as long as we treat everybody appropriately and take care of our customer, and as like what I like to say to our internal community is just do the right thing. Like, what is the right thing to do? Then I think we'll succeed another generation.